This is the tragic tale of Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. The year was 1953, and Princess Margaret, sister of Queen Elizabeth II, was in a tizzy. The royal family was preparing for yet another one of those dreadful but necessary official visits. This time, they were off to the Belgian Congo, present day, and Margaret was to be accompanied by a certain Peter Townsend, a divorced man. Now, this wouldn't have been an issue had he not been a divorced man. But since he was, it meant that their romance was strictly forbidden. You see, Peter and Margaret had met back in 1947 at a party. He was a dashing, charming man. A war hero, too. He'd fought in World War II and gotten injured. In fact, he'd lost part of his right index finger in a rather gruesome accident involving a bomb, and Margaret, well, she was a princess. But more than that, she was a normal girl who liked to dance and laugh and have a good time. She took one look at Peter and was smitten. There was just one problem. He was a divorced man and she was a princess. A royal romance like theirs was simply unheard of. But they carried on anyway, sneaking around and exchanging secret letters. When King George VI found out about their romance, he put his foot down. The princess could not date this man. If she did, she would not only be shunned by society, but she'd also be stripped of her royal titles. For a while, Margaret listened. She tried to move on, even going so far as to date a man chosen by her father, but it was no use. Her heart belonged to Peter, and Peter alone. Then came the Congo trips. Margaret was going to be spending a lot of time with Peter, enough time, she hoped, to win him over. But things didn't go according to plan. The princess, stricken with homesickness, poured her heart out to Peter in a letter. She wrote about how she felt trapped, about how her life was nothing but endless parties. She also told him about Group Captain James, her secret suitor, a man she was to marry if she gave up on Peter. Things took a turn when King George died and Elizabeth ascended to the throne. Now, more than ever, Margaret needed Peter's support. But he wasn't there. He'd gotten married, not to her, but to another woman soon. Margaret was back in London, a city full of reminders of Peter. Everywhere she went, he seemed to be waiting for her, not as her lover, but as her friend. They'd talk for hours about everything and nothing, and Margaret couldn't help but feel that he still loved her. That if she'd only had the courage to leave the royal family, they could have been together, she knew. Though, that life had been difficult. Peter was a divorced man and a commoner. To marry him would mean renouncing her royal life. A life she, despite all its trappings, loved. And, duty over heart. Married a man her father's choosing, a man who could offer her the life she was born for, a life of service. As the years went by, she became the Princess of Wales, Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen Mother. She saw her nephew, King Charles, ascend to the throne. She attended functions, opened Parliament, all the while living with the memory of a love that could have been. Some said that she never really loved her husband. Perhaps that was true. But what we know for sure is that she loved Peter Townsend, and that if she demarried him, history would have been very different indeed.